Okay, if this is your first video, you need to remember to pause it, do the problem, then hit play to see if it's correct. So after reading through the problem, you should have noticed that we want to know how deep is the water inside of the frame. You need to also know that volume is equal to length times width times height. From that formula, you should also know that volume divided by the length times the width will give you your height. So if you take the length times the width is your area, so if you go volume divided by area, that will give you your height. And that is what it's asking for, is the height. So what you're going to do is take the 4.32, that's the volume, and you're going to divide by the area. The area is 22.5 times 12.8. That will give you 4.32 divided by 288. That answer is equal to 0.015. It is asking you to round to the nearest hundredths, so your answer is 0.02. That is the answer to the question. Now remember, if after the explanation you still don't get how I got the answer of 0.02, that is where you need to ask to get more help. All right, let's go on to the next problem. In the next problem, same thing. You're going to pause, read it, do it, and then check to see if you have it right. Okay, so in this problem, you need to recognize that we're going to find the difference between the volume of the soil and the volume of the new container. All right, so in this problem, you have to, remember, we're going to subtract here. We're going to find the difference in those two values. So you're going to have 60 times 37.5 times 12 minus 50.4 times the other one, 50 times 10. Okay. Those answers are going to be 27,000 minus 25,200. Let me review what I've done. I have found the volume of the soil right here, and I am subtracting the volume of the new container, which is right there. When I subtract those two amounts, I will get 1,800. So your answer there is 1,800. And then it says, will the potting soil fit into the new container? Well, notice this is your, that is your, okay, hang on. All right, I almost gave you the wrong answer. This is the potting soil right here, and that is more than your new container. So will it fit? No, it will not fit. All right, let's go on to the next one. Again, pause it, read it, do it, and then hit play by checking your answer by hitting play. In this problem, we need to figure out what the volume with marbles is. So we're going to go volume with marbles. And we're going to subtract from that the volume without marbles. Without marbles, okay? Because that's what I want. I want the volume of the marbles. So what I have to do is find the volume with the marbles and subtract the volume without the marbles to get the volume of the marbles. So we're going to have 15.6 times 7.2 and 6.4, and we're going to subtract that answer, subtract the other one, which is 15.6, 7.2, and then the 5.9. When we multiply all of that out, you'll get the answers of 718. I'm going to write it over here. 718.848, and you're going to subtract from that the 662.688. When you subtract that, you get a difference of 5616. So your answer here is 56.16. Now, some of you might have noticed that in the problem, well, why not just figure out the volume by finding the difference in these two values and take that times the area? And that is absolutely correct. You can do that, in which case you would have the 15.6 and 7.2, 15.6 and 7.2, that is the area, and you're going to take it times the height that the volume height, that the difference of those two, which is 6.4 and 5.9. 6.4 minus 5.9, because this is the volume height when the marbles are in. This is the volume height when the marbles are out. So that difference. And when you multiply that out, or actually do the difference first, you get 0.5. So you'd get 15.6 times 7.2 times 0.5. And when you multiply that out, you also get 56.16. So you could have figured out the height difference and multiplied that by the area to get your volume of the marbles. Next problem. Again, pause, read through it, and then do it. So in this problem, we need to figure out what the volume is. It says, what is the volume of the water added to create the skating rink? So we're just going to multiply those numbers. Volume equals length times width times height, and that's 14 point, I said 14, but I wrote 12. 14.2 times 7.1 times 0.1. When you multiply all of those numbers together, you get 10.082. It says round to the nearest tenth. That's there. The 8 tells you to round up. So your answer is 10.1. So in this problem, you didn't have to do any differences or adding. You just needed to find the volume. Next problem. In this problem now, what we have to do, it talks about these different pans. We need to find the difference. It says the batter will be blank centimeters from the top of the pan. So to do this problem, we have to go pan height minus the batter height. Okay, so the pan height minus the batter height. To figure out the pan height, it already tells us that is 4.5. So we have 4.5, and then we're going to minus the batter height? Well, I think we did this before. First problem possibly. Remember that if you take the volume and you divide by the area, that will give you your height. So what I'm going to subtract over here, I'm going to do the work in a different spot. I am going to take the volume, 1113.2, and I'm going to divide by the area, which is 22 times 22. So that is going to be 1113.2 divided by 22 times 22 is 484. When I do that calculation, I get 2.3. So this will be 2.3, the batter height. So the height of the pan minus the batter height is what's going to go in my answer. And hopefully you can see that that is 2.2. That is the batter height. And then it says, is the batter between 1 and 2 centimeters from the top? It is not. It is 2.2 centimeters from the top. Just a little overview. What did I do? The pan height was given as 4.5. To figure out the batter height, I had to use this formula to figure out the batter height. Once I did that, I found the difference. Let's go on to the next problem. All right, in this problem, we want to figure out the percent. What percent of it is filled up? Okay? Well, you have to understand in this problem that percent is equal to part divided by whole. Okay, well, the part that is already filled with sand is 1.4, and that is going to be divided by the whole height, the height of your container, which is 35. So when you take 1.4 and divide by 35, you get 0.04. That's the decimal, so that is equal to 4%. 4%. The sand fills 4% of it. Some of you might have said, well, I didn't do it that way. I did the volume of the container, our rectangular prism, the tank, and then you, from that, you divided by, or excuse me, you did the volume of the sand. I'm sorry. You did the volume of the sand. You figured out what the volume of the sand was, and then you divided by the volume of the tank. Yes, that should have also given you 0.04 or 4%. Next. Well, that's it. Remember to keep your notes. They will help you in the set of problems that you are about to do. In fact, some of them might even be the same problem. Good luck.